Well, I'm here at the Davis Bridge boat ramp. Got my kayak unloaded out the back of the truck. You can tell there's been a few people down here, but not as many as usual. Of course, they decided to dump trash and stuff, which is always nice. But that's what happens when you close the road off. You don't allow anybody to really access and be down here like they need to be to keep stuff cleaned up and, you know, safe and organized. But that's a topic for another day. I'm going from here down to the Springfield Bridge. I changed my clothes. Got my clothes out my dry bag, dried off a bit. The only thing that's going to suck about this a little bit is I did not bring a fishing rod because I knew I was going to be in that other, I thought I was going to be in the other section. And I'm probably going to regret that, not being able to make a few casts on the way down. This trip usually takes about 4 hours. If you're paddling it pretty decent, I'm going to give myself, I got 6 hours to get it done because it's 12:19. So that's 6 hours before dark. I'm going to guess I'm going to probably do it in around 5 hours. But you never can tell. You kind of got a little bit of time on both directions. Here to Springfield Bridge, Davis Bridge Road to Springfield Bridge is the section I'm about to do. Got the truck locked up. Gonna drag my kayak down, and we will be on our way. It's good for it right there. Keeps the bottom smooth. But I hate I couldn't get the other section done. Water's low here as well from what it normally is. But I know it's going to be doable here, more so than it was there. So, let's slide the boat in the water. I love my little old town kayak. And, there we go. I'll be getting in, and then we'll be shoving off. Shoving off while I'm down here. That's the bridge that they're worried about falling over, I guess. You can see they do have a couple of the pylons up in orange, or highlighted in orange. I guess those are the ones they're concerned about breaking because of all the 18-wheelers that go over this bridge. I don't know, but I wish they would fix it so that I didn't have to come the long way over here. It takes like 20 minutes to drive here because the road's blocked off, whereas before I could be here in less than 5 minutes from my house. So it bummers it out a little bit. When Beth comes to pick me up out the Springfield Bridge, I'm gonna just get her to drop me off, and I'm gonna walk across the bridge to get the thing so she doesn't have to drive the 20 minutes to bring it back to my truck. But I'm on my way. There are a couple cool things in this section of the river that I'll bring you back and show you when I get there. But y'all take care. Lord willing, I'll see you here in just a bit with some pretty cool stuff on the South Edisto River from Davis Bridge Road all the way down to Springfield Highway 39. All right, we're between Davis Bridge Road and Springfield Bridge, and this is what we're coming on, our first landmark here. Just kind of a sandy hill that goes up there, little tall hill. Grandpa always calls it Sandy Hill Point, so we have reached Sandy Hill Point on this part of our journey. So, mark number 1. Somebody owns that land right there. If you had to use it as a takeout, you could, but you would have to get permission, obviously, from that landowner. My grandpa knows them. I know them too. The name's just not coming to mind. Nice folks, though. But we got another landmark down here I'll bring you up on. There's a hidden liquor still back in the woods in here, too, that's really old, from like the 30s or something like that I'm trying to keep my eye out for so I can show it to you. But one, it's old and it's very run down. And each year that goes by, it's harder and harder to find because there's less and less of it. But if I find it, I'll show it to you. But other than that, I'll probably bring you back down when we get to Clear Lake. So, not too much further down, you come across what we call Clear Lake. The main river's behind me. Kind of forks up into here. There's a hunting club that owns this. Doesn't own the lake, but owns the adjacency to most of the river down here. And their property comes up on this lake. It goes back in here a little ways. Let me show it to you. It goes back in there a little ways. It's a really good place to honestly catch fish, especially bass in the springtime, because a lot of them do come up in here to spawn. It goes up in the swamp a good little ways. Caught fish back there. They have their own little dugout canal here as well with their own private ramp, the hunting club that owns this. And of course, the old man's chair. That's always at the end of these things. So call it Clear Lake. Somebody else might call it something else. But that's what we call it. held down here to Clear Lake. A lot of times when we're john boat fishing, we come down here to Clear Lake, we fish it, and then we fish the river all the way back up to the ramp and then up above it a little ways, and then we call it a day, because that makes for a pretty good little couple hours of fishing down here on the Edisto. But I'm paddling the whole thing today, so I won't waste too much time in here, although I do wish I had a fishing rod, because there's been some pretty spots. But I told you I'd show it to you if I found it. It's the old liquor still on the Edisto River right there. You can see the bricks built up around it. You got your big old kettle drum right there. I'm not an expert in distilling liquor and moonshine, but I believe that's old coot steel right there. Pretty cool. I'm not gonna get up there and mess with it. I'm gonna leave it just like it was. I'm not trying to get no old moonshiner's curses put on me, so that old girl can sit there for another 100 years. Edisto River finds on the South Edisto River. One of my favorite things about being down here is seeing these giant cypress trees. Now, this isn't even the biggest one I've seen, but it sure is tall. That's a pretty tree. This area so far, knock on wood, I hadn't had to jump over any trees or get out of the boat or anything. So I've been very fortunate. A lot of the limbs and the logs and stuff have been cut out where you can get around them. So it's very peaceful. Much more peaceful than where I started this morning at that other bridge. So sometimes you just aren't meant to do certain sections at certain times. You just got to make the best of it, and I'm definitely making the best of it. You see over there where something's been laying up in that grass. Could be an alligator, but could be a beaver or a river otter too. The river down here is peaceful though. It's pretty much what it's looked like the whole time. I do know that it will neck down and split in a couple of areas between here and there, but so far it has been an actual relaxing trip. So doing a little bit of paddling, but a lot of floating, because it's really peaceful and quiet when you float. Jumped up 2 deer. I wouldn't even say jumped them up. They just stood up and looked at me as I went by. They didn't even run off, because I'm able to go through so quiet just floating. But hopefully it stays like this most of the way down. Like I said, this is my home stretch. This is the stretch of river I have done the absolute most of, fished the most of, kayaked the most of, boated the most of, whatever, hunted the most of. So it's just the section of the river I like the most because it's close to home. But it is a nice paddle, very doable. You do have some strainers and some obstacles and stuff, but you know, novice paddlers should be able to handle it. Beginner, I would still suggest a beginner paddler start at something like Aiken State Park, where you're only doing like 1.5 miles, 2 miles. But you know, if you've got a little bit of experience and trying to get out here and do a little bit more, it'd be a good section for you. Davis Bridge Road, or Davis Bridge to Springfield, Highway 39. I'll make another video if it comes to something worth showing. Meanwhile, I'm gonna just keep looking at these cool trees. There's some big cypresses down here. Told you I'd bring you back to something interesting. This is definitely interesting here. You see it behind me? It is a pipe in the river. The thing that's getting me though, is fresh in here, but it's not attached to anything on the backside. Let me show you. So I kind of pulled up into the swamp to look at it. There's nothing on the backside. They do have some ribbon, old ribbon marked here, but those T-posts look fairly new. And like I said, it's a pipe that goes nowhere. But one of the things that concerns me with that is we're near farm territory. We're not supposed to be pumping any more water out of the river, but they're not really pumping water out of the river because there's nothing connected to that pipe. But then why is that pipe there? So I'm standing up in my kayak to try to get a view behind it to see if it's like they're trying to trail it off to go somewhere, but there's nothing back there for it to go to. This is a real head scratcher. Probably gonna forward this to the Edisto River Keeper, see what his opinion is on it. Probably drop a pin on it for him too. But I don't know what the deal is here. That is strange. Very, very strange. Like I said, we've had some controversy with pulling water out of the river with some of the farms around here, the big potato farm and stuff. I don't think this is the potato farm property over here. Could be mistaken. I don't know all their property lines and stuff. But I mean, there's nothing even connected here. I don't know if this was like a potential site and then they axed it, or if you know why this is here, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we'll forward it to my boy Hugo, see what he thinks of it. Anyway, interesting. So I'm down here, I'm not quite halfway, and I come to a little offshoot in the river here, a little backwater looking thing, but it almost looks like a creek that goes back in there. And I, for the life of me, cannot remember there being a creek there. There's also some high banks, so somebody might have taken a backhoe or something and dug this out into a channel. So I've got some time. It ain't but 1:54. Like I said, I'm almost halfway down. So I'm gonna sneak back in here and see what we can find. Come on with me now. Like I said, it's just a little creek off the river. It's got a high bank there, which looks like it could have been dug out, but I don't know, maybe not. Looks like a big wasp nest up in that tree, so I'm gonna be careful and put my phone down, get past it. Back in here a little ways, looks like somebody's John boat, or what used to be John boat. It's kind of stuffed back up in here, probably part of that hunting club. This creek goes a little ways. The little John boat ain't been used in a while, we can at least say that. I'm gonna continue up here a little bit further. Several bends in at this point. I really wish I had a fishing rod, because it is some awesome looking fishing up in here. Coming up to a high bank. So, don't know. I'm gonna keep going though, till it, basically stops, just to see what I can see. You know, I like being nosy a little bit. But I really wish I had a fishing rod, because this feels like some dynamite fishing back up in here. That kind of dead ends right there, so went up as far as I could. Some of the stuff I did see, like I said, I think this high bank probably belongs to that hunting club. I didn't see anything that would indicate a connection to that pipe that was upriver, so that's kind of good. I'm assuming the hunting club just uses it to put little boats in or whatever, or fish out of, in this little creek right here, because right up here on the left, they have like a little minnow trap set out that's been there for probably ages. Coming up on it now. Got a big long pole right there, like somebody was fishing. Kind of a little put in right there, but doesn't look like it's been visited in a while. Like I said, there's your little minnow trap. Little minnow trap. Long cane pole. Just a little offshoot back up into the river. I'm an explorer, what can I say? I get curious, especially if it opens up a lot. I like to know where it goes or where it comes from. Anyways, figured I'd show you that, and I'm gonna sneak back down this little creek back into the main river. Be extra careful, quiet, not to piss them wasp off that we passed. And bring you back when we hit the midway point, because we're almost there. I think we used to call it Givens. Hunting club or whatever is what it used to be. It might be something different now. We'll show you that when we get there, and that'll be the halfway point, so that if you're doing this trip, you'll know what the halfway point looks like. So I'll bring you back in a minute. So this is what we call the halfway point, what we used to call Givens Hunting Club or whatever. I don't know what they call themselves now. This is the halfway point between Davis Bridge and Springfield Bridge. It's a cool place. When the river was clear, me and my grandpa would come down this far for catfishing. We'd come all the way down here and we'd turn around and go back up and catfish on the way back up. This is a good little run. Like I said, it's about halfway between Davis Bridge and Springfield. I always said when I was a kid, if I got rich, won the lottery, or just, made a lot of money in a profession, that I was going to use my money to buy that place back there, and that's where I was going to live the rest of my life at, and just fish the river for the rest of my life every day that I could. But that richness hadn't happened quite yet. So it is what it is. They probably wouldn't sell it anyway. Everybody sells for the right price, but it is what it is. I still get to enjoy the river, so I can't complain. But yeah, if you're paddling down here, like I said, they actually have it's a very nice house, and they have a pontoon boat dock set up. That's your halfway point. You're halfway to Springfield. I have not yet had to get out and pull over a log, so there's that. I think they help keep it, cleaned out, because, like I said, they do have a pontoon boat right there. I would imagine they put the pontoon boat down here at the house, but probably John boat back up and forth down the river for the hunting club quite a bit. from here on down, I can't say how clear it's gonna be. Because like I said, most people I know, when you put in at Davis Bridge, it's about the halfway point. So if you get here, you turn around and go back up. But I guess we'll see. And I'll keep you updated. But it's been a very leisurely, fun trip up to this point. I hope it continues that way. So let me show you the river and then I'll take you on out. There she is. So just a smooth, leisurely paddle down. I basically just using my paddle to keep me straight as I go down. Paddling when it gets real slow, because sometimes the current lacks around certain bends and stuff. But it's a nice day. A little warm, but down here it's not as bad. The water's cold. Like if you're going to swim in it, it's a little nippy to it. This river flows, comes out of some deep well springs in a couple places, some flowing wells. So keep a pretty consistently cool water down here even in the summertime. Because I want to show you what the river does down here. That if you're not careful and you don't use your common sense, and you almost have to use a little bit more than common sense, you could really get messed up. Check this out. This is the view in front of me. Now, which one's the river? This, I believe, is a cut through. This, I believe, is actually the main river over here to the right. The problem is that with the way that it's cut, the cut-through's taking away so much water from the main river because it's trying to become the new river that you're not sure if you can make it through what at least used to be the main river, but you also don't know that the cut-through has enough water to make it through the cut-through. So, decisions. A lot of times it's a lot safer to just go ahead and take that main river channel because it's probably been maintained at least at some point, hopefully. But sometimes you have to turn around and paddle upstream and come back to the cut through. That cut through, I'm just not feeling, to be honest with you, even though it's got a good bit of water flow. But the river kind of cuts around this way through this main channel. So I'm not sure how far through the woods that cut through would have to go to get back to the main river, which is my main concern because cut throughs will run out of water. They'll do it in a heartbeat. So, kind of floating back here trying to see what this area looks like. I think I'm gonna go with the right hand side, what looks like the main cut, and I'll bring you back and see if we can figure out where this cut through comes in when I get down to it, or either when I have to paddle back up to it to use it. So see, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. So like you can tell it's an old part of the river because it's literally like coming out here into just like a nasty style mud. And then down there, there's a whole log that's completely across the river. So, like, this has been cut off. Which means that, I'm not saying I couldn't make it if I continue this way. But it means it's, especially if you get to where it's like almost like you're just paddling through pluff mud, it might mean that the cut through was a better choice. So, it still doesn't mean that the cut through is a better choice. This is the decisions you have to make down the Edisto River. So, I'm actually going to turn around and go back to the cut through and use it and see where we wind up. So, because this one's like drying up over here. It's literally like I would have to paddle through pluff mud to get through it, and I'm not sure that it's gonna make it all the way back out to where the cut through's at. So, to the cut through. All right, so this is the cut through. I'm gonna use it instead. See how well it does me. It's a little skinny is the only thing that really makes me nervous. We will see. Like I said, this is the stuff that the Edisto River will do to you. Somebody's cut that log though, which can be a good sign. Let's see what happens. I'm literally gonna paddle with one hand so I could try to take you along with the others. Check out them mushrooms. Not really sure what kind of mushrooms those are. This is an interesting cut through. Cut throughs happen when the river comes up and it flows out through the swamp. And then as it starts to come back down, the river decides that, hey, this path is easier than the other path that we were on. So it keeps that cut through the swamp and kind of funnels out the dirt that was there as the river goes up and down a couple times. And next thing you know, you have a whole new channel instead of the main river. and it cuts off a section of the main river, making the main river essentially a dead lake. So that must be what happened here. The only weird thing is this is an unusually long cut through. Usually it's just like cutting through one bend. It's also making me nervous because you can see up here at what looks to be the end of this cut through, a bunch of log jam. Hear that gurgling of the swamp there? So this is always the chance you take with a cut through, that it ends out on you and you don't get back to the main river. Which means I might have to go paddle through that pluff mud, because it's not looking so good here. I think I'm gonna stick with the cut through. Let me show you. So I'm gonna skinny over this log, come around the skinny part there and get back in it, try to make it back out to the main river. If this is the worst of it, it's not too bad. I like a little swamp adventure anyway. This is quite the long cut through. I'm still paddling here. I'd have been 3 or 4 bends. So I'm gonna continue on and show you the other side. That's what I'm kind of going down through. It is a nice one. Like I said, it's got good depth to it. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible camera person. I really need to get a mount so I can just mount this joker. The last mount I had didn't work out. But I'm gonna ease down here. Like I said, still got plenty of flow. This is what the Edisto will do to you. It'll send you on cut throughs and swamp creeks and stuff. That's kind of part of the adventure. That's why I like it. It's never the same. It's always changing. But hopefully we find some main river here soon. All right, now I got to get through this. All right, from what I can tell, the main river's up there. I do have to get through that conundrum of limbs. I got through the last limb that I had to hop over, even though it looked kind of nasty. I'm stuck on another one here. I'll scooch off of it like so, and it'll come clear. Get my little cutter or whatever, cut these limbs down and get on through this other snag up here, and I should be back in the main river. Not too bad. Don't use the cut through. Don't use the cut through. It was a bad idea. But let's face it, I'm in too deep. Took a little side here. I'm gonna get back to the main cut through, and then we're riding this out now. I cut a couple limbs and stuff. Somebody else has done the cut through before too. I'm not gonna lie to you, because there are several cut logs. But yeah, just paddle through the mud. Paddle through the mud on the main river. Do it. Don't take this particular cut through. It's a bad idea. I'm tired. I guess things were going too smooth. I needed a little bit of adventure and hardship to make the trip just really sink in. I really should have stayed to the main river and just paddled through that big mud flood. Oh, I just got over that. Stuck on a little bit of a sandy area. Man, I'm not ending this video until I get back to the main river, whenever that might be. So I have been in the cut through for like 30 minutes now, no lie. Whoever was here before me, I appreciate you, because you've cut some limbs that would have been in the way and would have made it tough for me. I've cut a few myself. You can see the sawdust on my front deck maybe. The mosquitoes back here are terrible, so I'm not stopping long, but I want to give you an update. I'm still hopeful to find the main river. Do not take the cut through. Now I'm just downright mad at myself. I got to get through there. Ain't no turning around now. I have to paddle an hour back upstream. So I finally come out on something that looks like it's going back towards the main river. There's a single wide trailer back there, a jet ski, kayaks, fishing rods. It's not like somebody lives back there, but it's almost like a hunting shack or something with the windows blowed out of it. But at least the cut through's open back up, and I never knew that was there. So that's interesting to know. Add to my database of things I know about the Edisto River. But would not recommend cut through. I'm gonna mark where this comes back into the river at least mentally, if not sneakily, with like a marking on a tree or something that I leave behind, so that I can come back in here and check this out later if I want to for fishing, because it looks like great fishing. And I also know that there's a fishing camp back there evidently, or a hunting camp or something. I thought it was a deer stand at first, but it was the side of a single wide trailer. Do not recommend. Do not take the cut through. Don't do it. I done drank my last Mountain Dew. I got plenty of water and Gatorade left. I even have a Fanta. But that was a little too much for me. So it's the first time I've hit this particular cut through. Would not recommend, 0 stars. But at least it brought me to something kind of cool. I'm not going to overly show their stuff because I don't like doing that to too many places. The big mega plantations maybe, but not old boy's little river shack. I ain't gonna mess with him. Back out in the main river. Don't take the cut through. But I am glad I'm back out the main river. Now I can just flow down. I'm not too far from Springfield Bridge. Also, my fellow fishermen down here that like to set lines, because I like to set lines too, but I try to do mine legally. I put my name on my tag, hang it on every single line so that you know whose line it is. And at the end of the night, I make sure I get them all off the trees and I don't just leave stray lines hanging in trees with ribbons all over the place. That's littering, man. Do better. Do better. Anyways, check out that old tree right there. Part of the beauty of the Edisto. I'm gonna float it down the rest of the way. I'll bring you up on 1 or 2 more spots probably and show you. Like I said, don't take the cut through, just paddle through the mud, because that was more adventure than I was really kind of bargaining for. But hey, found something new. Made me a little subtle mark in the wood so I know where that turnoff is now, because I can reach here from the Springfield Bridge fairly easily. And I'm gonna go and check that creek out a little bit more because I didn't realize it was that big, that creek / cut through. So anyways, check out the river. There she is. Nice and peaceful. Much better than the cut through. Dirty now. Sweaty. I was very leisurely earlier. Got to rewind down before I get to the bridge because this got me amped up. But anyways, like I said, it's all part of it. And it just goes to show, even for somebody that's been down here as many times as I have, you can get lost, turned around, taken down the wrong channel, even if you've done this, like I've done this trip over 10 times. So, and done parts of it many times, fishing and just regular kayaking, out and backs. So, gotta be careful down here. Whew. It's a big old wasp nest over there too. I'm gonna try to be sneaky and get around it. I'm seeing me. Had to even spray bug spray on me because the darn mosquitoes was killing me back there in the cut through in the swamp. They was eating me alive, but I always try to carry some bug spray with me. They're not bad at all on the river. Like I hadn't had a problem on the main river with them. But back there in that slough, trying to do that cut through, no, that was not wise. But well, other than the cut through area where I had to do some squirrely stuff, this is the first log that I've had to like really get up and over. I hadn't had to get out of the boat because I hit it running pretty hard. Paddled up to it, shot through those branches behind me through that little gap. And now I'm on top of the log here, and I should just be able to shuffle off just like that, and on down. But yeah, a couple of obstructions. I could jump this one with a john boat pretty easy too. So, and if I was in the john boat, I'd probably just go ahead and bring my saw and cut a couple of them limbs out so it wouldn't be so hard to get up and through after you jump the log. But not so bad. Like I said, if I stuck to the main river up there, I probably would have had one more to jump, but I couldn't tell you for sure because I hit that cut through. But fairly clear for this section of the river, I'd say. Can hear the cars at the bridge now, so I'm getting close. I sent Beth a text to come pick me up, so hopefully she'll be here. It's 4:24. I'll be at the bridge probably by about 4:30. So, I mean, if you look at it, it's about a 4-hour trip. Even if you do stupid stuff and run the cut through like I did, I do not think I saved time at all with the cut through. If anything, I think the cut through cost me time. And I'm not paddling very hard. I've literally floated quite a few sections. So, it's been fun though. River's peaceful. I needed a day out. I've had a stressful week at my other jobs. Don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. My initial plan for this weekend was, like I said, to knock out that section I started on this morning, and then if that went well, to go above it and knock out the section above it. I can't do that, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my tomorrow. I know I've got other people that want me to paddle other sections, thinking about doing the North Edisto. I'm not gonna lie to you, at least on some of these lower sections kind of near me in the Orangeburg area, because I'm not too far from some of those bridges. But I'll have to kind of talk it over with Beth and see where she's willing to pick me up at if I park one place and try to go to another. So I'm gonna show you one more thing before we get to the bridge, so I'll bring you back then. I said one more thing before the bridge. I meant to. Over here to my left, and these bushes right here, you might be able to see it. This is the cut that goes to the other bridges. Springfield Bridge has 3 bridges. If you go through those bushes, there's a creek there that takes you to the other 2 bridges. I've ran it quite a few times. You can kind of see it right there. And we used to have the hunting club on the other side of that, or of one of those bridges. So I've ran that quite a few times, and it winds up coming back into the main river down past those 2 bridges quite a ways. But it's fairly paddleable, or it was the last time you did it. You just got to get through those bushes to get there, which if nobody's been going back there, it kind of closes in on you. But once you get through them, it opens up into a nice little creek. There's even like a dock back there that somebody had built one time, like a wooden dock. Not the greatest dock. I want to show you that for my adventurous friends. It's only a couple bends up from the Springfield Bridge, the main bridge where you put your boat in. You come up, you find that, you shoot over to the other ones, come down and do a loop. I do that sometimes. Good fishing, a good paddle, creek-like, so you feel adventurous. Highly recommend. The other place is right up here. I'll show it to you next. This is the last spot I'm gonna show you. So this is like a bend or 2 up from the bridge. Goes back in this little creek right here. It's always a good little spot to hit. If you're fishing, if you're adventurous, you could paddle up there quite a ways too. Just passed a couple fellas. So they've been watching me on TikTok, so that was kind of cool. They was fishing, so they caught a few too. So sound like everybody's having a pretty good day. That Springfield Bridge. Got my boat pulled up. Whew. Like I said, I passed 2 fellas on the water. They was catching some fish, so that's good news. Waiting on Beth to come pick me up, and then we got to go get my truck. I'm gonna record that too, because she's gonna drop me off on one side of the bridge. I'm gonna walk over the bridge to get my truck, and then have to drive all the way 20 minutes around. So it's gonna take like 5 minutes to get to my truck, and then like 20 minutes to get it back home, because of that stupid bridge fiasco at Davis Bridge. But if it wouldn't have been for that cut through, I wouldn't be soaking wet with sweat, as I had to work hard to get through there. So stick to the main river, would be my suggestion, even if you do have to hop a log or 2. It's really not bad between here and Davis Bridge Road. Highly suggest paddling this section. So I'll bring you back when I walk to my truck. So y'all take care. And I'll be right back in a second. Well, she dropped me off down here. I made the walk from up yonder. Fellow that lives right there came talk to me. And truck's still there, so that's a good thing. It doesn't look like none of the windows are busted out of it. That's a good thing too. So they shut off even more of the road, because I guess they keep having people come down here and check the whole scenery out and turn around and all that. So see if I can not bust my ass getting back down there. Gnats are terrible. But that was a pretty good trip. Might do another one tomorrow, can't ever tell. Maybe I'll go to the North Edisto River this time, because I can't do anything else on the South Edisto on up like I want to, because the water's too low. What you gonna do? I'm gonna make the long way around. I'm gonna hit the dirt road. I'm not gonna go through Springfield. I'm gonna hit the dirt road, go a long way around, and head on back to the house and meet Beth there. So y'all take care. Lord willing, I'll find me another river trip to do here, maybe tomorrow or Sunday. See you then. Y'all take care, Lord willing. I'll see you that time.